So, have you ever wondered how a brand new medicine actually gets from a lab discovery all the way to your local pharmacy? It's a really long and complicated journey, and a huge part of it is powered by these experts who kind of work behind the scenes. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at the critical world of regulatory medical writing, a job that is, no exaggeration, right at the very heart of medical progress.
And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? This isn't just about filling out forms. This quote puts it perfectly. This job is the essential bridge connecting these amazing scientific breakthroughs with the actual people who desperately need them. They're the ones who translate super complex data into a story that makes sense, and they're the ones who make the case for a new medicine on behalf of all of us.
And, the stakes here are just massive. We're talking about billions of dollars to develop a new drug. With that kind of money on the line, there is absolutely zero room for error. Every single document has to be perfect, compliant, and just crystal clear. One little mistake or a confusing sentence that could lead to huge delays or even get the drug rejected entirely. So yeah, this role is unbelievably important. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about these unseen architects. Then, we'll dive into the world they operate in, look at the skills they need in their toolkit, and break down the major documents they create. And for those of you who are interested, we'll even cover how to break into the field and what the future looks like.
Okay, first up, the unseen architects. You gotta understand, these writers aren't just typing up data that someone hands them. No way. They are strategic partners. They're the ones organizing massive amounts of information, managing huge projects, and really guiding teams of different experts toward one single goal, a successful submission. So what is regulatory writing really? Well, this definition sums it up pretty well. It's the highly specialized skill of creating all the documents needed to prove that a new medical product is both safe and effective. And these documents, they go to super powerful agencies like the FDA here in the US and the EMA over in Europe. And their decisions literally impact the health of millions of people.
Next, let's talk about the ecosystem. Because this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of job. Where you work and who you're working with can totally change what your day-to-day life looks like.
And this table really lays out the difference beautifully. In a big pharma company, you might get to be a deep expert on one thing. Maybe you're the CSR specialist, and you work on that same type of document for years. But then you go to a small biotech startup, and it's a completely different world. You're a jack of all trades. You might be working on clinical reports in the morning and then helping out with a manufacturing section in the afternoon. Both are cool, just very different.
So what does it actually take to be good at this? Let's open up the essential toolkit. See, it's not just about being a great writer. To really succeed here, you need this powerful mix of hard, technical skills and those trickier soft skills.
What's cool about this slide is how it frames the two sides of the coin. Think of the hard skills as your foundation, the solid ground you're standing on. But the soft skills, that's the engine. That's what actually drives the whole project forward. And you absolutely, 100% need both to get the job done.
Let's dig into those hard skills. You've got to know the rules of the game inside and out. That means global guidelines like ICH and Good Clinical Practice, or GCP. These are basically the rule books for how clinical trials are run. You also have to understand the whole drug development process from start to finish, be able to look at complex data and make sense of it, and get comfortable with all sorts of software and document systems.
And then there are the soft skills, which are just as critical. You're often the central hub for the entire project, so you need to be a leader. You have to be a diplomat, negotiating with a statistician about the perfect way to phrase a key result. And this is a big one. You need to be resilient and know how to professionally say no when something isn't right, all without slowing the team down.
Okay, so we've talked about the who, the where, and the how. Now let's get to the what. It's time to decode some of the most important documents a regulatory writer works on every day.
This table is a great snapshot. Just look at the different audiences. An investigator's brochure is for the people running the clinical trial. A clinical study report, that's for the regulators. And a patient information leaflet, that's for us, the public. And believe it or not, the same writer has to be able to switch between these completely different styles and tones.
The Clinical Study Report, or CSR, is probably the most fundamental document of them all. Think of it like a single, very detailed chapter in the biography of a new drug. It is the absolute backbone of a submission, because you'll often have dozens of these reports that all get pulled together to tell the full story.
And then you have the investigator's brochure, or IB.
Before that biography is even written, this is the master encyclopedia. It has everything anyone knows about the drug, making sure the investigators, the people actually running the trials, can do their job safely and effectively. And here it is, the final boss. The NDA in the US or the MAA in Europe. This thing isn't just one document, it's more like an entire library. It's this massive, massive collection of documents that pulls all those chapters, all those CSRs, and everything else together to make the final argument to the government. Our story is complete, our drug works, it's safe, and you should approve it for patients.
So, does this sound interesting to you? Good. Let's switch gears and talk about how you actually break into the field. If you're thinking this might be the career for you, here's a look at the path forward.
Now here's the biggest hurdle. As this quote points out, there isn't really a single college degree that says regulatory writer on it. And that means if you want to get into this field, you have to be really proactive. You have to go out and find the training and the mentors yourself. So if you're trying to break in, this is what you focus on. 1. Learn the regulations like the back of your hand. 2. Make your writing as clear and simple as possible. 3. Double and triple check every single data point. And 4. Learn to love feedback. It's not about criticism, it's about making the document better together. But the good news is you don't have to go it alone. Organizations like the American Medical Writers Association, or AMWA, are amazing. They exist specifically to help people in this field by providing training, certifications, and a community to connect with.
And there are a ton of resources out there. Besides AMWA, you've got RAPS, the Regulatory Affairs Professional Society, and EMWA, their European equivalent. All of these groups offer certificate programs, journals, webinars, conferences, everything you need to start building that foundation of knowledge to get your foot in the door.
All right, let's wrap this up by looking ahead at writing the future. Just like almost every other job out there, regulatory writing is being changed by technology, especially AI. So, what does that actually mean for the writers?
This quote really gets to the heart of it. AI isn't a replacement, it's a tool. It's a super powerful assistant. It can help with some of the more repetitive stuff like drafting an initial summary or checking for consistency. But the critical thinking, the interpreting of the data, the final sign-off that says this is correct, that is and will be firmly in the hands of a human expert.
So we'll end with this question to think about. We're living in an age where we are drowning in data. But data by itself doesn't get a life-saving drug to the people who need it. It takes a skilled writer to take all that data and weave it into a clear, compelling, and compliant story. So in a world that's becoming more automated, the human storyteller, the regulatory writer, might just be more essential than ever.